Princess Zaira was renowned for not her beauty and kindness, but more so for her frantic, whirlwind energy. Zaira's mind was a tangled storm of thoughts and ideas, ambitions and worries, all demanding her attention at once. She wanted to be everywhere, do everything, and achieve greatness in all things, but instead, she often found herself overwhelmed and disorganized. One morning, Zaira woke up determined to make the day different. She had 100 tasks swirling in her mind, overseeing preparations for the harvest festival, reviewing the kingdom's treasury, visiting the orphanage, practicing her swordsmanship, and learning the new dance steps for the royal ball, all in one day. She jumped out of bed, threw on a mismatched dress, and rushed to the festival grounds without even finishing her breakfast. At the festival, she tried to direct the servants and guards while half listening to the head chef's instructions about the feast. But her thoughts kept drifting to Prince Rael, who was visiting from a neighboring kingdom to discuss political alliances. Zaira had harbored a secret crush on Rael for as long as she could remember. She admired his bravery, kindness, and the quiet strength that always seemed to surround him. And now, with him in her kingdom, she was desperate to make a good impression. Spotting him in the crowd, she bolted toward him, her heart racing. Halfway there, she remembered she had an important meeting with the treasury minister. She turned abruptly, running back toward the castle while shouting orders over her shoulder, leaving a trail of confusion behind her. Later, while trying to balance the books in the treasury, her mind wandered again to Rael. She imagined striking up a conversation with him, maybe even dancing with him at the upcoming ball. The thought sent her mind spinning with excitement, and she left the books half-finished to dart out of the room. On her way, she caught sight of Rael again in the palace gardens and decided to introduce herself properly. As she approached him, her heart fluttering with nerves, Zaira tripped over the edge of her dress, one she hadn't bothered to fix after spilling tea on it earlier that morning, and fell face-first into a muddy flower bed. Rael, startled, rushed toward her.
"Princess, are you all right?"
His voice full of concern. He knelt beside her and gently helped her to her feet. Zaira, covered in dirt and leaves, wanted to disappear into the ground.
"I'm fine, I'm so sorry."
Rael's brow furrowed in concern as he studied her, and his gaze lingered longer than she expected. He said softly, brushing some of the dirt off her sleeve.
"You don't need to apologize, accidents happen."
His kindness only made her embarrassment worse. She quickly excused herself, fleeing the scene with her cheeks burning, tears of frustration welling up in her eyes. She had made a complete fool of herself in front of the one person she wanted to impress the most. That night, after the disastrous day, Zaira locked herself in her chambers, ashamed and overwhelmed. She couldn't keep living like this, constantly rushing from one task to another, trying to do everything and succeeding at nothing. She was spread too thin, and now she had humiliated herself in front of Rael. Something had to change. As she sat on her bed, her gaze fell upon the door to a forgotten room, a room that had once been her sanctuary when she was a child. It had been her mother's private library and art room, a place of peace and comfort. But after her mother's death, Zaira had stopped going there, unwilling to face the memories. The next morning, she unlocked the door and stepped into the room for the first time in years. The air was still and heavy with dust, but the faint scent of her mother's perfume lingered. The room was just as she had left it, shelves filled with books, sketches of flowers and landscapes pinned to the walls, and a small writing desk by the window. She felt an unexpected wave of calm wash over her as she wandered through the space, trailing her fingers across the familiar objects. Then, something caught her eye. On the desk, half buried beneath some papers, was a large, leather-bound book she had never noticed before. It shimmered faintly in the light, its cover embossed with strange symbols. Curious, she opened it and found its pages blank. But beneath the first page was a quill, its inkpot still full. Intrigued, Zaira sat down and began to write in the book. She poured her thoughts onto the page, her embarrassment with Rael, her constant sense of failure, her struggle to stay focused. It felt strangely comforting to get it all out. As soon as she finished her entry, something extraordinary happened. The ink on the page began to glow with a soft golden light, and the room around her blurred and faded. Zaira gasped as she was suddenly transported, not into darkness, but into a place of stunning beauty. She found herself standing in the middle of a serene garden, with flowers blooming in every color imaginable, their petals glowing softly as though kissed by starlight. A gentle breeze carried the scent of jasmine and lavender, and a nearby stream trickled softly over smooth stones. This place was unlike anything she had ever seen. It was peaceful, warm, and otherworldly. As she wandered through the garden, her heart ached with familiarity. She felt as though she had been here before. And then, she saw her. Standing beneath the boughs of a large, glowing tree was her mother, radiant and serene, with wings of light unfurled behind her. Zaira's breath caught in her throat.
Mother?
Her mother smiled, her eyes full of warmth and love.
Yes, my dear Zaira. I've been watching over you.
Tears filled Zaira's eyes as she rushed forward and embraced her mother. The familiar scent, the warmth of her embrace, brought back a flood of memories.
I've missed you so much.
I've always been with you, my darling. This garden is a part of you. It's where your mind finds peace. And now, it's time for you to learn how to quiet the storm within.
Zaira listened as her mother spoke gently, guiding her on how to calm her mind, how to focus on one thing at a time, and how to find balance in her life. She felt her heart grow lighter with each word. When Zaira returned to the palace, she was determined to change. She began visiting the room regularly, writing in the magic book and allowing its magic to transport her to the garden of her mind whenever she needed clarity and peace. Bit by bit, her life changed. She learned to take things one step at a time, to breathe before rushing into action, and to allow herself the space to grow and learn without pressure. As the days passed, Rael noticed the change in her. She seemed calmer, more focused, and there was a quiet confidence about her that hadn't been there before. He often found himself watching her from afar, admiring the way she carried herself, and he couldn't help but feel drawn to her more than ever. One afternoon, after a meeting with the royal council, Rael approached Zaira in the gardens. There was an awkward pause as they stood facing each other, neither quite sure what to say.
Princess, I couldn't help but notice you've changed.
I've been working on calming my mind. It's not easy, but I think it's helping.
It suits you.
They stood there for a moment, both unsure of what to say next. But there was a warmth between them now, an unspoken understanding. As they shared a quiet smile, Zaira felt a flutter of hope in her heart. And maybe, just maybe, Prince Rael had felt it too.